Hi, welcome again, Karen. Whenever people ask me what you do, I say I make people feel less alone by talking about the hidden system behind toxic relationships. And I wasn't planning of talking about this art installation at all, but here at Olesen, where I had my exhibition, I discovered that many people were drawn to this art installation, and I started to talk about the whole installation with them. And they were mostly drawn to one of the three things which makes that installation, and it's the painting which is called the Quiet Collapse. I'll talk about it, I'll show you later. But when they come into the art exhibition, the first thing they see, I'm going to turn around, the first thing they see is two shirts hanging. And you see the blue one and you see the yellow one. And the blue one stands for the male, and the yellow one stands for the female. And I know toxic relationships is not only the man versus the woman; it's both sides. It can happen between two colleagues, can happen within friends, circle of friends. It can happen at the gym. It can happen everywhere in your family. Psychological abuse is not something that is well known, but it's well spread. So I think it's time that we talk about it more often. I've chosen to highlight that I've chosen a male shirt and a female shirt, but I mean, it feels almost like a cliche, but most of the abuse that is done is from men towards women, but vice versa as well. So it's just, I had to take something. So when you look at the shirt, from what I've tried to make visible here is the dynamic, how people look at the situation, at the conflict, because it's not a conflict, it's abuse, but how they look at you from outside inwards. So when I look, I'll show you the shirt again. When you look at the shirt of the male, what you'll see big like labels, and each label has a golden marking as well, because what they say about him, when you talk a narcissistic person, what people see also as the victim or as the friends and family is what a wonderful human being he is. He's kind, he's nice, he's a good father, he's inspiring, he's helping out, he's friendly, he's charming. That's how people see him. What's happening is that as a victim, you start the same way. You see him for the very first time, and he's just lovely. He's a lovely human being. But then the internal dynamic starts. Then the pattern behind the toxic relationship starts. And what's happening then is that he will start to mirror all your vulnerabilities. And because of the many questions they ask at the beginning, they'll know about your vulnerabilities. They know about what your dreams are, your aspirations are, and they go after them one by one. So if you know that, for example, you're a very clumsy person, nothing wrong with that, everybody has his traits, but each time you're clumsy, they will point at it, and they will make it even bigger than it is. If you're not a very tidy person, they will point at that. But then it's going to go further than that. They're going to start pointing at things that are actually not true. And it's confusing. And it's so invisible that sometimes you don't know even anymore what's happening. And then they will go further down the road and say that you're crazy, you're too emotional, you don't know what you want. So many things over and over again. So I wanted to make that dynamic visible. I'll show you the female. So what is happening here is then the female shirt has smaller tags. The installation is called You Are Tagged. It has smaller tags, and the smaller tags, so people are invited to use this one. So they can actually read what is on the tags. And what is on the tags, and it's being repeated several times from above down, is that it's all your fault. You are stupid. You are no good. You're too sensitive. You're crazy. And it goes down. And each tag has a red ending because it really hurts. After having been or having started a relationship like that, if you have started a relationship like that, and when you have felt loved and supported and cared for, and then they start giving you these small cuts, it hurts. And because of the fact that most of the time with the first cut you go like, okay, probably he has a bad day, or probably there's something happening at school, or something happened at work, or something happened with friends. So you give excuses to yourself for the bad behavior. And then the next cut comes, and the next cut comes. And when you look at the shirt of the lady, what you see is how she feels. I doubt, I'm confused, I'm exhausted, I feel lost, I'm alone, I feel ashamed. And then the questions come. Is it me? Is it normal? So I was trying to actually show the dynamic between how people look at him, being charming, inspiring, how he looks at her after a while. You're too emotional, you're not smart enough, you're stupid, you don't know what you want, why do I stay with you, things like that. And how you then as a victim feel. You start to be confused because you started off with a really wonderful human being, and now sometimes he reacts in a really strange way. And then you get lost and confused and you feel ashamed and alone. And then what I wanted to show to people is that, because what people ask me all the time on podcasts is, yes, but Karen, when did you actually understand that you were in a toxic relationship? Well, it took me 2 decades to understand that I was in a toxic relationship. I always refer to the relationship as being complex, confusing, perhaps we were not the right fit, because I didn't understand what I was in. It's only later on, like in 2024, that I fully understood it's a pattern. And that's why I decided to stand up and raise my voice, because, I mean, why should I be ashamed of it? Why should I be ashamed of the fact that somebody has played a game on me? I should not. Nor should all the other people or the victims of psychological abuse and abuse feel ashamed. But it doesn't start somewhere. It's a pattern that starts very slowly with the love bombing and the isolation. I talk about it in my book, how it evolves. But it's the cuts that you endure. So that it's not a specific moment in time that I understood that this is not good at all, this is not a healthy relationship. It just progresses over time. And that's why the behind the you are tagged installation is so interesting, because it starts with counting the cuts. Every day, weeks, months, years, until you don't know who you are anymore. And now I want to continue with this one. This is the quiet collapse. This is the painting people refer to when I said to them, what is your favorite? And to my surprise, people were walking up to the very dark painting, and I could not understand. And they said, I said, why is it so inspiring? Why are you pointing at this really dark painting? And one of the people I talked to, she said to me, I thought I was alone. with this heavy feeling, with this like dark feeling. I thought really I was the only one. And I looked at her and said, but you're not. We're not. When we're at the bottom, at like the lowest point in our life, we're not alone. Still, then we're not alone. There are so many of us in the same situation. And I could see the relief, and it was wonderful. How is it possible that we feel that the human experience, we're the only ones who are experiencing it? But it's because when you're in a toxic relationship, the oppressor will tell you that it's all your fault, that you're the one to blame, that you're responsible for the fact that the relation didn't go well. And there's something I want to read about the quiet collapse. I'm just going to take the paper one moment. As usual, I'm not well prepared. I always have to laugh with that. So, it was a text. So the dark canvas and the text that actually made people come back to me and saying and talking about this installation. So the art installation is called You Are Tagged. Then you have the 1,000 Cuts, and then you have the quiet collapse. This canvas does not scream. It has already screamed, silently, endlessly, in the confines of a toxic relationship where the soul was slowly hollowed out. The quiet collapse is not just an artwork, it's a testimony, a raw, unfiltered reflection of what it means to feel emptied, unseen and undone. And yet, in its stillness, there is truth. In its silence, there is power. Because naming the void is the first step toward healing. And it was that last sentence, in the void, when you're at your lowest in life, you will find your first step towards healing. And I recognize it so much because life will present you the same situations over and over again until you're ready to learn and to address it in a different manner and to react in a different manner and to look for different solutions for the same situation. It will present it over and over again, and I so recognize that in my life as well. I have been bullied at school, I have been bullied at work for 1.5 years. I addressed it. There was no solution to it. I had to quit. I had various toxic relationships as well, so I know what has been presented to me over and over again. It's only when you understand that you can react in a different way that you will be able to take your first steps towards healing. That doesn't say that the behavior that you have been, you had to live with, that you had to endure is correct. It's still bad behavior. But we can decide to take a different step in our lives, to take another exit, to learn, to transform, to educate ourselves. And the fact that when you're at your lowest, you can gain the most, that was something that many people told me it was their biggest insight. So I know that YouTube doesn't allow interactive, YouTube is new to me, it's a new means, and perhaps there's a way to be more interactive, but I would love to hear your insights in the comments, because I would love to give that, to present that art installation again, in different settings, as education or when I speak. So if you could give me some feedback on things that I could improve or things that I could do better, please be my guest. I'm also only learning. So thank you for being here and wishing you a wonderful day. See you. Just showing you how it looks when you come into the exhibition.